Enzo Fernandez will be joining up with the Chelsea squad on their pre-season tour of America on the 29th of July. New manager Enzo Maresca has confirmed. Now, I was actually on holiday when the news broke and the video surfaced that upset so many people of the Argentinian team that included Enzo Fernandez singing an offensive chant that was aimed towards the French national team, and I did cover that on my channel. However, I always prerequisited that video by saying I'm not really maybe the most qualified to speak on this subject. I just wanted to give you lot my opinion. But what I was dying to do was to get the brains of the operation, Josh Aveste.
In inverted commas.
The brains of this channel, Josh Aveste, alongside me, so that we can have a conversation where at least 50% of it is a little bit more well-educated than myself. And we can speak about the Enzo Fernandez situation, and we can speak about his potential integration. Integration. What is an integration?
I mean, you've combined a couple of words there. Yeah. Like an interrogation.
I love one of them.
Yeah.
I love doing it myself. I like watching them. Crime videos. Oh, I love it. We might be doing a bit of true crime sometime soon.
Stop it. What? Another tease? You need to stop doing this.
You're teasing me.
What are you talking about?
We might be starting a joint channel. There might be a bit of true crime on there. There might be a bit of pop culture, but we will get to that when we get to it. But first, Enzo Fernandez, at the moment, we believe is still over in Argentina.
Yes, well, at least on his holidays, we should say, from some description. And he's earned that holiday because he's been playing a lot of football.
He has been playing a lot of football, and he's been playing a lot of football to quite a high level in the Copa America, winning the Copa America.
Not for Chelsea, though. No. He hasn't been playing a lot of football for Chelsea. Maybe he did kind of decide that he wanted to play for Argentina more than he does want to play for Chelsea.
Well, I got a few pelters in the comments for that, and they're saying, he's not picking club over country. Actually, I think that you'll find that Enzo Fernandez's behaviour, and listen, behaviour can mean a whole host of things. Don't take it with a negative connotation as soon as I say the word. Behaviour can mean anything. But what I would say is his behaviour has led me to believe at times that he is prioritising country over club. Obviously, we come from a generation where growing up, it was like club over country for everyone, you know. But obviously, I'm not giving my opinion on whether that is right or wrong. What I would say is also his willingness and almost desire to link up with the Argentina squad for the Olympics as well was a bit of a strange one. Apparently, he has really expressed his desire to do that to Chelsea Football Club, and it was not back. I think rightly so, to be honest. I do think rightly so. Can I just get your initial thoughts on the video? Because obviously you haven't covered it on your channel, and it was something that we spoke about off camera, but these guys would like to know. What were your thoughts on the video?
I think I was really disappointed and let down by it, to be honest with you. Like when it came out, it's one of those things where you almost don't want to believe it, because you don't. I think we all want to believe that Enzo Fernandez is a good guy deep down, and I think before that video surfaced, he had given quite a lot to Chelsea, and as much as he wanted to play for Argentina, he was sort of kissing badges and did sort of put us above other teams. He could have signed for Real Madrid. He could have signed for a lot of other teams before he even came to us.
Very well liked in the dressing room.
Well, before all this, absolutely. Like he was very well respected. And you have to say one of our bigger players, one of our highest potential players, one of our sort of highest reputation players before this kicked off. And so it's really disappointing. When I first saw it, I was so shocked by what the actual words in it. Obviously, it's in Spanish, so we had to deal with translations and we had to understand it. I couldn't believe that he'd attacked the French squad in a moment where he's celebrating a Copa America victory. It's got nothing to do with France. It's got I mean, last time I checked, France wasn't in America or North America. No, it's not. I did a lot of research on it. I couldn't find it there. Or maybe I was looking in the wrong part of the globe. But it's especially disappointing when
we're not in Europe right now.
No, we're not in Europe.
We're not in Europe. We left Europe, didn't
we? We're not in Europe. No, we're actually flying above the Earth right now in a spaceship, and that's where this podcast studio actually is. They say it's in Barnes, but podcast room, by the way, if anyone's asking.
Podcast room, Barnes, linked in the description. You lot are lucky.
Stop it. But we're actually floating above it just because we're that far advanced now. That's where we can get the technology. And I also did kind of want to prove to you the Earth is round. I did want to sort of make that very, very clear. Conspiracy the video coming very soon. But Yeah, I think I was shocked from it because there are so many French players in our squads, and it really did hurt them. And we saw that manifest itself in the social media stuff. We saw it with Wesley Fofana's post, made that very, very clear.
But before we get into all that, I want to give a huge shout out to today's video sponsors and continued partner of the channel, Manscaped. Now, it is no secret you watch the channel because you like me, you like Josh, you like the content, and most importantly, you probably like Chelsea. But what else you like is the fact it's a little bit pleasing on the eye. And how do I remain so pleasing on the eye? Because you can tell I'm well groomed here, very well groomed. There's no straggly bits coming off the side. You ain't got all the whiskers too far down from the chin, although we do have them perfectly trimmed. And the way I do that is with Manscaped. Now, a couple of months ago, they sent me a care package, and to say I've been getting my use out of that care package would be an understatement, because the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra has become my best friend. This trimmer gets it right the first time, cutting through the bushiest of bushes easily while being gentle on the skin in your delicate places. With 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, you can choose between a precise trim or the smooth finish. And did I mention that it's waterproof? So instead of just singing in the shower, you, my friend, can be shaving in the shower. But it doesn't end there. No, because next we need to talk about the Beard Hedger. It features a titanium coated stainless steel T-blade and 20 length options. You can achieve any style you want with just a twist of the zoom wheel. And just like the Lawnmower 5.0, it is also waterproof, meaning you're going to be in that shower a while because you can give your body a full-on DIY. So if you want the same service that I have been getting, make sure you head over to Manscaped, where you can check out the Beard and Balls bundle. It is linked in the description, and once you go there at the checkout, make sure you use my discount code Joey Knight, and that will get you 20% off of your next order. As well as that, you're also going to get free shipping. You don't get better value for money than that now, do you? So as always, I am forever grateful to Manscaped. Thank you very much, and help support the channel by supporting the guys that support me and buy your products from Manscaped.
Wesley Fofana has actually been very outspoken in various issues involving racism in the past, and I respect him immensely for putting it out there. There is a school of thought, and a lot of our fans have been saying that it shouldn't have been put publicly, and you don't put stuff public out there. It should have been an internal issue that is discussed within the squad. But how can you begrudge anyone, you know, when they feel slighted in that way?
But hold on, mate. There's a sort of elephant in the room when you say this, and I'm not saying that, you know, if one person does something, you've got to do something to the same degree or level back to them. But Enzo Fernandez's initial video that he put out from his social media account, the live stream was public. So if you put that out public, I think you would well within your right to give a public reaction to it.
Yeah.
Listen, there's many sort of condemning words that you could probably throw at this situation and use for this situation. But do you want to know the initial one that comes into my head?
Go on.
Moronic.
Yes.
Stupid. Can I give you a little example here? Right? Imagine this. We had a great game last season that me and you both went to, didn't we? It was in the Cup.
Yeah.
Your boy Mykhailo Mudryk scored a winner.
Wait a second.
Who gifted him the winner?
I mean, to be honest with you, Mykhailo Mudryk scores a lot of winners, so it's difficult to sort of pick one out in particular.
But it's pretty easy at the same time. Who gifted him the winner?
Tell me. I don't know which one you're talking about. Which one?
Against against Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went through on penalties.
We did.
It was against Newcastle. Mudryk scored the winner, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Gifted to him by Trippier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, let's imagine after that match, I decide, you know, me and you, we're walking out of Stamford Bridge. You know, you don't drink yourself, but according to Twitter, I'm a raging alcoholic. So I've had a few beers. Yeah. We're celebrating.
Yeah.
You know,
a few balty pies as well.
Oh, I've had a few balty pies.
Yeah.
We're in high spirits, and we decide to, you know, go live on my Instagram and just start singing a really offensive song against Geordies.
Yeah.
Just a really offensive song towards the Newcastle fans.
Yeah.
And then we just, you know, rock up to film the kickoff and right, how you doing, mate? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Would you describe that potential behaviour as moronic?
I would say moronic would be the word.
There you go.
It would certainly be awkward in the kickoff filming sessions.
It would be.
Yeah.
And Brian's a big lump. I wouldn't do that. It'd beat the shit out of me.
I wouldn't fuck with him at all.
No, exactly.
So yeah, it was a stupid one, and it's weird because he's got a lot of French friends in the squads.
I tell you what would be even more moronic.
Yeah.
If we played, say for example, Fulham in that match, and I was singing about Newcastle.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like
so
for.
True.
Like, literally, listen, footballers, I had a mate, right? One of my good mates growing up played for Fulham, right? And I actually used to go and watch his academy games, and I saw him play some big names now, right? He was in the same team, funny enough, as, speaking of Newcastle, Dan Burn.
Yeah.
My mate was playing right back. Dan Burn was playing centre back for that team.
And you knew he was good enough then.
You knew he was going to be no, he didn't go on to be a professional footballer. Yeah. He does something else now. But what I was going to say is he actually, because he was playing for Fulham and because he got given a professional contract, he had to leave school at after year 9. So he did a couple of years in school and whatnot. And I get that sometimes the life of a footballer can be very, very different to the life of a normal person, right? You went to university.
Yeah.
I went to the University of Life.
Yeah.
Okay?
Better qualification, to be fair.
Way better qualifications. Way better. No, joking. But we both ended up on YouTube.
It basically is the same.
No, but what I'm saying is sometimes, and I don't mean to cause any offence here, but sometimes footballers can have poor judgment because of just maybe a lack of living the same sort of life as the common person like me and you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So maybe things like that can...
It's not an excuse, though, is it?
It's not an excuse. No, it's not an excuse at all. But I'm saying, right, I understand that. But at the same time, there has to be a level of common sense. One, it's not common sense to not have that within you, to not want to sing these things. And I think as Chelsea fans, and as the human race, we'd all like to be able to look at that situation and hope that came out of a place of pure ignorance and naivety rather than something darker.
Malicious, absolutely.
There you go. And maybe, as I say, you could use schooling, you could use the life of a footballer to maybe say, okay, look, they don't have the most common sense, things like that. But when you are playing for Chelsea Football Club, any team in life, you need to have a bit more about you up here to go, hold on. I might be with all my national teammates here.
Yeah.
I'm about to offend half of my workplace, nearly, and ultimately a lot more than just half of my workplace, a lot of people around the world. Remember, there's not only people, you can be offended by something without it being aimed at you. It's 100%. Not only French players that were offended by this chant and whatnot. So just stupidity on Enzo Fernandez's behalf.
Also, you really hope that it's not his actual beliefs. And now he has made the statement afterwards, and he's made that very clear and said that he apologised. And we've heard afterwards, not only was there that public written statement that we've seen, but there was sort of like other messages gone towards the individual players involved. And you
would hope there would be.
Yeah, you would, exactly. You'd hope that he would. But I still feel that he's going to have to come back into the squad and make some actual apologies face-to-face, man-to-man to these people. Now, if it was me, I might have made that decision to come back off my holidays early and make that thing sort of done now. But maybe he's had enough conversations with the individuals that are slighted and the individuals affected in the squad now to be able to, feel comfortable enough to come into the squad. Now, it was interesting. Enzo Maresca was asked extensively about this in the press conference, and Reece James was as well in the press conference that happened before the Wrexham game. And both of them said very clearly that this was an issue that had been resolved within the squad and that we're all moving forward now as a team, and the collective is sort of moving forward. You hope that's the case, and you hope that isn't just what the media teams want them to say. I hope that Enzo has built those bridges with the squad.
I think the best way to move forward is obviously exactly like you said, building those bridges, educating himself, speaking to the players that he offended, speaking to everyone about the situation, but also making sure you are better in future.
He's got to change his beliefs, because if you're singing that song, whether you are expressly racist or whether you've just got something that you want to sing a chant about, you've just got to change your overall mentality. You can't, for me, it wouldn't just be about offending my friends. It wouldn't just be about singing a song with my mates. It would be like, this is wrong. I shouldn't even be singing this. And that's what he's got to educate himself about.
Can I tell you what concerns me when we talk about the judgment of that situation? A couple of days later, and listen, I'm sure this was booked in. I'm sure this was something that was always going to happen. A couple of days later, when it is still very hot in the kitchen, right? He is paraded in front of the River Plate fans.
Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, am I being harsh? A little bit weird.
It was weird. He puts on a River Plate shirt.
I hope that
he's got approval from the club.
Puts on a River Plate shirt and he's paraded in front of the River Plate fans. Yeah. Now, of course, I completely understand that since leaving River Plate, he has gone and won a World Cup. He's gone and won a Copa America, and therefore will be somewhat of a not somewhat. He'll be a massive hero for those fans, right? Yeah. Bearing in mind, I think it was the president or prime minister of Argentina had come out and supported him. Obviously, multiple Argentinians had come out and supported him. Yeah. I think that anyone with half a brain inside their head would understand that the feeling in your home nation is probably a different feeling to around the world in light of that situation.
Yeah.
Listen, mate, call me harsh. I think that was stupid to go and parade yourself on the River Plate pitch, because for me, I think I know as a person, as a football fan, I know what those fans that, by the way, I'm not in control of, but I know what they're probably going to start singing. And we saw the videos, mate. They were singing the chant again.
Yeah.
I believe that Enzo Fernandez needs to take himself out of that situation and not give a chance for petrol to be poured on the fire. Or am I being harsh? You can tell me.
No, I think it was misguided. And I feel like he's made...
Stupid, mate. It wasn't misguided, it was stupid.
Yeah, it was stupid. I feel like he's made a few mistakes. And what I'm starting to feel now amongst the fan base is that there is a sort of a general sentiment that this guy might not be Chelsea material. Is that's probably not the right word to use, but sort of like he's not got the right character of a Chelsea player that we're seeing right now. And there are rumours, a lot of people that, I mean, there's a considerable amount of people that would be open to selling him at this point. And that's all based on the mistakes that he's made. You know, again, the parades, the actual chant that he's done, the feeling that he might not necessarily be a Chelsea guy. It's concerning, mate. And they're not going to go away. And if he doesn't put the performances up to warrant it, and he doesn't make up with the players that, as you say, so much of our squad were affected by it, they far outnumber him, and he's in the wrong, and it was completely misguided. This situation has got to be resolved and bookended very quickly, otherwise it could, as you say, you know, petrol on the flames. It could get worse.
Do you know why I wouldn't be in favour of a sell of Enzo Fernandez?
Go on.
Because I feel like we have an opportunity to not right the situation, but I feel like, in a way, it could be passing the buck almost. Oh, he's done something. We don't want to make him our problem, whatever. I think that we have an opportunity to be able to educate Enzo Fernandez himself, get him to understand why these things aren't acceptable and whatnot, and why, obviously, okay, we all have cultural differences in the world, but you're representing Chelsea Football Club. You're representing yourself as a person that's in the limelight. We need to educate you, we need to better you, and I do think we'll be able to do that. The other reason, the other elephant in the room is no Premier League club is going to buy him off the back of that if the narrative around the sale is he is being sold because of this offensive chant, right? So no Premier League club's going to be in for him. Do we agree on that?
I agree with that, yeah.
Okay. Can anyone outside the Premier League afford Enzo Fernandez?
Only Real Madrid.
Only Real Madrid. Do they want him? Do they need him?
PSG, maybe.
I don't think so. You name PSG, mate. You name PSG. Yeah. I think our mind always goes to PSG because we know the money involved. I don't think PSG... I'm not saying I can't afford him, but I don't think that's a likelihood. I don't think there's a likelihood that they would have him.
They could get him and they could increase his wages.
A couple of his Argentinian teammates were saying they'd like to see him over at Atletico Madrid.
Yeah. I can't see him going to Atletico.
I cannot see it happening. But there are more questions than answers of Enzo Fernandez.
There are.
Firstly, with his mentality towards the club. You know, we say about you Chelsea through and through. How much respect have you actually got for the club? Because there's been a couple of situations, you know, with your constant, you know, request to go and play in the Olympics after. I get it. I understand it. But by the way, other countries have teams that represent them in the Olympics and you don't see all of their players. I get with South American countries it's a little bit more common, perhaps, right?
Perhaps.
But you don't see it all that much. So I don't really see the need. And I would also think it's a little bit like this, right? If I've called in sick to work for a week, yeah, you know, when I get back to work, I'm probably not going to go and hand in my holiday date requests, my dates off, am I?
And he was off sick for about 2 months.
Yeah.
Not a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you go. So I think his head needs to be in the game, and more importantly, his head needs to be in Chelsea right now.
Yeah.
If his head is in Chelsea, how does he fit into this Enzo Maresca system? Would I be right to assume that an Enzo Maresca system stylistically might be a little bit more fitting for Enzo Fernandez than perhaps Pochettino's system was for him, because Pochettino didn't even have a nailed down position for him, we saw at first. And it was only towards the back end of the season where he started to be a little bit more stable in the role that he played.
Well, we know where Enzo Maresca is going to play him, first of all. That's the first thing that we have to say. Whether he's going to fit into the system, it's a question mark at the moment, right? He's going to play in the base of midfield, and he's going to have a inverted fullback next to him as another DM. He's going to be a deep lying playmaker. He won't be going up and down the pitch. I can't see him being a free eight. I can't see him fitting in there. Everything we've heard about Maresca is he's going to be deep. Now the question is we saw him last season get isolated for pace, and he's almost. Do you remember Jorginho? We were furious about him, how he would never be able to, have the recovery pace to be able to make a tackle, and he would get bypassed at time because of his general athleticism. Enzo Fernandez is by no means like a peak athletic player. He's not the fastest player, and he can get bypassed at times. So this is a big question mark going into the season, and this is why, as you say, his head needs to be completely focused on Chelsea right now, because there is absolutely no guarantee that he starts in this system. There's a lot of pressure from the sporting directors and from the transfer fee and from the wages that he's on that he should be playing, but there's absolutely no sporting element that he should be guaranteed to be playing in this team.
Is that a damning indictment on the board, the fact that we spent that amount of money on him, and 2 seasons or so into his spell at Stamford Bridge, like you say, there's not actually a guarantee that he starts in this team? And when we say a guarantee that he starts in this team, there could be a guarantee from up above coming down saying you need to start this boy. But in terms of starting our strongest possible team, at the moment we're like, I don't know. Because I look at Caicedo, for example, right? Bought in for big money. Obviously, very different to Enzo Fernandez when he was first signed, in terms of Enzo Fernandez came in, and in my opinion, in that 6 months, really oozed a bit of class under Graham Potter and then Frank Lampard, and really looked like a player that almost looked, I don't want to say a level above what he was playing around, but a level above what they were getting out of him at the time. And he transitioned in well. And Caicedo had it a lot tougher. He actually did. He had a horror debut against West Ham, gave away a penalty, came on as a sub. Really bad debut in that match. Yeah. He had a few moments that we were really sort of head in hands and thinking, oh no, if we just spent a load of money on someone that's come from Brighton, worked really good in their system, but maybe isn't that. And then he just went and went and went. After a couple of games, he levelled up and he just became so good. And now, I don't look... Obviously, you might call me a bit of bias because I'm a Chelsea fan, but I don't look at the Caicedo signing and think, oh, that's a big fee for Caicedo. I understand that big fees are chucked around nowadays, and I'm very happy with how Caicedo is performing. So is there a huge difference there when we look at the two of them in comparison?
There's a huge difference, and Caicedo is absolutely excelled, and as you say, he's gone right up. I think Enzo is stagnated, and you have to say, I do always caveat this, and you laugh at me sometimes when I say this, but like the injury was a significant injury, and he was playing through that for the better of the Chelsea team. So to give him some props, he had to play when he was injured, and he did that. Never really kicked up a fuss and complained, and played consistently. I do think the start of this season is crucial for Enzo's career. Maybe not just generally, maybe just at Chelsea, but certainly for Chelsea, the way he kicks on, the way he integrates back into the team, and how he builds the bridges that he's burnt at the moment, and then how he actually plays on the pitch is crucial for him, because there's going to be a lot of pressure from Lavia. There's going to be pressure from Caicedo, whether he ends up being in that role or not. I don't think he will, but there absolutely could be an opportunity where where Caicedo is the deepest player. And then you've got young players like Santos. We're hearing rumours that he might be going back to Strasbourg, but he could be playing. If he plays very well in pre-season, he could end up staying.
Ugochukwu, if he stays.
Ugochukwu, who again was meant to be going to the Olympics and is now not going to the Olympics because rumours are that he's going to be going out on loan. And then obviously you've got Carney still involved. Don't see him as a deeper player. But then also maybe we'll end up dipping into the market. If there's a worry about that position and that, because that's a key role, that deep line playmaker in Enzo's system. Enzo
so now when we think about these sort of inverted fullbacks that obviously in attack we're imagining will make up one of those midfield slots, and then we have an Enzo Fernandez or something next to him. Has the vision of the Enzo Caicedo pivot now sailed away?
I think in Maresca's system, I know we keep saying Enzo, it's getting confusing. So let's say Maresca's. In Maresca's system, the way that I see it is you've got two banks of the players, right? You've got the defensive bank and you've got the attacking one. And Enzo's role is as a number 6 almost that forms the sort of the 5 with the defenders, right? And then you've got the other attacking players. So I see them very different. And what we mean by that is there's a lone pivot and then there's sort of like free 8s that are attacking. The free 8 conversation is very interesting in that you've got Dewsbury Hall, Carney, you've got Caicedo, who will be forming that, Santos potentially. You've got players like Cole Palmer that might end up there, and Nkunku might end up as one of those free 8s as well. There are lots of players that might end up in that role. You still obviously got Conor Gallagher, you know, until he leaves. I have to say, the Conor Gallagher thing, there's more and more reason to say that he might end up staying now, based on what I'm seeing. So the free 8 conversation is very different from the holding midfielder, and that is so important. We used to see it with players like Kovacic and ball retention and being able to keep the ball, beat the press, pass it. That's so important for the way that Maresca is going to play, and so that role is going to be key. It is interesting that we discussed Reece James in a previous video that we did together and where he's going to end up. And it was interesting that Maresca did say that he'd seen him play for Wigan. He could be that DM. He might actually not even be an inverted fullback. He could be the DM.
I tell you what, I wouldn't mind it.
I wouldn't mind it. And we've said it for years.
Malo Gusto, we like right back, Reece James in that centre mid position. That would be nice. When I look at Enzo Fernandez last season, it's a word that I use to compliment footballers. But I think it could actually do the opposite when you take into account the fee that was paid on them. And I would just say tidy.
Tidy, yeah.
He was tidy.
He was tidy, but then also, like, in the role that he was playing in a double pivot, we wanted him to get forward and get goals, and he just wasn't doing enough from an attacking sense. The question I've got back for you now is, we could have signed someone like a João Paulinho in that role. Probably would have been less money. Probably would have been more experienced. If you go back on that now, would you have signed him instead?
Well, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and you can really only make a decision on whether you rated it to be a good decision at the time. I rated the Enzo Fernandez signing to be a good decision at the time. Now, when we were first in for him, I think we were looking at spending about 70 million on him. Yeah. And even then, it was a lot of money. I thought it got astronomical in the end, and I thought it got silly. And I prayed that, going back, wouldn't have spent that amount of money. But at the same time, we did. Now, if Enzo Fernandez delivered what we thought it said on the tin, then this wouldn't even be a question, because I think he would complement Caicedo well. I think that Caicedo would be the man getting about, cutting out balls and whatnot, almost a little bit like Conor Gallagher was at times, and Enzo Fernandez would be taking that stray ball, finding a pass very quickly, transitioning maybe an interception or a tackle into attack straight away. However, as I say, tidy is more the word I'd describe his performances with last season. I didn't see those line-cutting balls. Another thing I think that can be worked on, will be worked on, needs to be his shooting. I thought his shooting was very, very lacklustre for the most part last season. Now, people will point to that dead ball shot against Aston Villa, where he scored a great free kick. But remember, that was a dead ball shot in open play. Most of the time, the shots went straight at the goalkeeper or over the bar. That's something that needs to be worked on. Yeah. And I think that maybe, the development of this squad in terms of getting to know each other and having a better rapport with each other will complement Enzo's game even more, because they're going to be more on the same page. When he first came in, even last season, when everyone else had first came in, very, very hard for these players to be on the same page. So if you said to me now, put your last pound on it, put your money on it, do we see a better version of Enzo Fernandez this coming season under Enzo Maresca than we saw under Pochettino last season? I would say yes, but only by a sliver, not a confident yes.
I'm going to go the other way. I think that Romeo Lavia will have an exceptional pre-season. And I think he will come back from his injury and be able to play a significant amount of games this year. And I think that Enzo will be under a lot of pressure. I think if he can't get the recoveries that he needs to get, if he's not sort of doing the passes, the sort of forward balls that he needs to put through, now, and that's Enzo's strength. But I could see Romeo completely, outplacing him. I could see him being involved in the team.
Do you know what I find funny about Enzo Fernandez is he's one of those players, because of his gameplay, he's one of those players that to a team like a Chelsea, who are currently in the Conference League, he might not be the most useful player to have. And you might think, yeah, might not need him at the minute or whatever. But then he could almost walk into a top team, like a Real Madrid, like a Bayern Munich, something like that. And I think that he does clearly, you see it on international duty, raise his level to what is around him. He looks well in that Argentinian team and he plays very well. I just want to see more out of it for Chelsea. And again, I want to see more of that. Fighting for the badge, fighting for the club, rather than the club playing second fiddle to your country at times. I understand it, tournament fever, when something like that's going on, I completely understand it. But please remember, we paid a huge fee for you. Pay your wages. The fans pay a lot of money to come and support and play the club. You really need to prioritise them.
Well, after this summer, it's now club football for 2 years, you know. So like, get your head down now and focus on your club stuff, and then you can become this great player. This is what Enzo Fernandez needs to remember, is that you don't become the elite international player winning all of these awards purely on international football alone. You need to do it at club level. You need to be winning trophies. You need to be competing in the Champions League at the very highest level. And so he needs to kick on at a club level as much as anything else. And as we've just said, he's not going anywhere. There are very few clubs that can afford him, even if he did want to go anywhere. So he's got to do it at Chelsea now. So he's got to roll up his sleeves, build some bridges, and play, you know, at the top level.
He will be rolling up those sleeves in a bit of a beauty of a new kit. I've gone full 360 on it, to be honest. I really didn't like it. I thought, what is that, when I first saw it? And then I saw Cole Palmer in it, and I thought, oh, it doesn't look too bad.
What, the naughty school kid photo?
The naughty school kid photo. We've actually got a link for that kit in the description to this video. That just takes you to the Chelsea Megastore,
doesn't it? Basically, whatever you want on the Megastore, you can get from there. So if you want it
doesn't
printed...
need to be a kit, it could be anything.
Could be any of the club merchandise. They've released the new training kits, by the way.
Could be a coffee mug.
Pretty good. Could get a coffee mug.
There you go.
Could get some... what were those little models called? Those little plastic models of the players back in the day you used to get in the chocolates.
You can buy them from the Megastore.
You can. You can.
Sabutios?
No, not Sabutios.
No, what were they?
What were they called? Power Pods.
Okay, right.
You can get some of those.
You can get them all in the Megastore. But not only are we're not just linking the Megastore, because you'll know how to get on the Megastore. Yeah. Our link will get you 10% off of your order. So if you want to go there and be a full kit wanker, which we all do, by the way, we love the full kit wanker.
I buy the socks every year.
If you shin pads,
boots.
Yeah, there you go. Groin guard. Maybe just.
I buy the captain's armband sometimes. Just
there you go. There you go. I used to do that. I used to take it when I played Sunday League football. I used to take the captain's armband with me just in case. In case. I wasn't hoping that he choked on his Frosties and didn't turn up for the game.
You were 8th on the list as well, so it was very much.
It would have took a lot. Yeah. But you know. Always be prepared. People, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, head over to Josh's channel. It's linked in the description. And if you're wondering where this podcast today comes from, it is the Podcast Room in Barnes. They are linked in the description. Check them out. I will see you all in the next one.